Hi everyone, it's Mr. Barden here. This is going to be a relatively short video. I'm recording here with my second camera so we can get a look at parts of the circuit we are building, but because I'm limited to the camera battery and until more show up, whenever it's dead, I'm going to be recording little short videos, topping off the battery, then coming back a little bit later to record the next part. So these are a little shorter, but you can watch several of them in a row if you want. So again, with battery in mind, let's just jump right into it. Basically, what I want to talk about today is how you can implement a switch of some kind into your circuits in order to turn them on or off. There are different kinds of switches. The one I'm going to start with in this video, I'll put it in this camera first, is a toggle switch, and I'll hold it up here as well. And it just toggles between, in this one, some of them have more, but two positions, and it stays in that position until you change it. This is like a light switch on your wall, that kind of switch. In fact, that's exactly what we're going to be doing here. The way these work is on your switch, you may have some of these in your kit, you may not. They're not that expensive for this kind, but they have usually 3 leads on it. All right, there's an so it's essentially the amount of states that your switch can have. So 1, 2, plus 1. If you had a 4 or 5 state switch, you would have multiple extra leads coming out of it. But basically, you have the input voltage coming in on one of these. It's usually the middle, but not always. It varies from switch to switch, so don't take that as an absolute fact. Check, whatever switch you might be using. If you don't have any kind of information on that, give it a shot with multiple combinations, go from there. But basically, you input the voltage, and then by changing the position of the switch, you are switching which output pin that voltage goes down. So let's just use one. I think it's pretty straightforward. So I have a breadboard right here. Ignore this part as I'm just flinging all of my stuff around. That's going to be for the next video. I do have some slightly different jumper cables. These ones aren't as up and in the air as the others, so hopefully it should be easier to see everything. We'll try to figure something out with this USB cable's a pain. We have that there. I am aware that this is not the normal color that you should use for ground cables. That should be a black cable, but I'm just limited into what I have left in this little box at the moment until some more arrive. So I am aware that this is not the right color. Sue me. This isn't like a thing that's going to be implemented in any kind of actual electronics. It's just for educational purposes. So I wanted to bring that up. So I've got my switch here, and I'm going to put it into the breadboard right about there. And I'm going to use it to power on this white frosted LED. So basically the circuit is going to go from the power, I'll use this little red wire, to the switch, to the and then out another lead of the switch to the LED through the 220 ohm resistor right to ground. So let's do that. I'm going to start by connecting this lead that's closest to the switch, or to the LED there, just to economically use that. And then I believe the middle one on this is the input for the power. So I'm going to stick this red power right in there. And yep, I was right. We have seen this light come. I'm getting used to the camera here. We have seen this light come on now. So now, if we flip this switch, it has turned off. So let's just look at this from the top now. So again, we're coming in from the power to the middle lead of the switch. Because it's currently sending the circuit out of this third lead, it's a little hard to see, that's not connected to anything. The circuit hasn't been made, so no electricity is actually flowing, and the light is off. I'm going to hold this down just to make my life a little easier, but when I flip it, now we have completed the circuit, which just so happens to be running through the LED and the resistor back to ground so the light comes on. So with this setup, it's just a off-on kind of thing. We aren't doing anything with the Arduino. It's just here to act as the power source. The next few videos, we'll get into that a little bit more, but we can just switch that on, off and on like so. You could set this up another way. You could have this switch between maybe two different LEDs. So if the switch is in one position, we light up this one. If it's in another position, we light up a green one or a red one or whatever. It could be a combination of different things for switching between two states mechanically here with your finger. It kind of just depends on what you want to do. All right, like I said, I'm doing these all kind of bit by bit, so I'm going to stop right here, and when we come back in the next video, which I'll be recording a few minutes from now, you could probably watch this immediately afterwards, is how instead of a switch, we can wire in a push button. This will have a similar effect, but because of the mechanic of the push button, it's going to function very differently. So that's going to be it for me from here.